Greetings and welcome back to Room 303 in our chats with Emily as we are calling our readings through the poetry of Emily Dickinson. We are now in the Johnson edition at poem 615. Our journey had advanced. Of course, immediately we think of ourselves as being back with the Odyssey, as well as, of course, Dante and his journey through the underworld. In many ways, we're back to poem 510. You'll remember our doing this one. It was not death, for I stood up and all the dead lie down. It was not night, for all the bells put out their tongues for noon. It was not frost, for on my flesh I felt succors crawl, nor fire, for just my marble feet could keep a chancel cool. And yet, it tasted like them all. The figures I've seen, set orderly for burial, reminded me of mine, as if my life were shaven and fitted to a frame and could not breathe without a key. And 'twas like midnight some, when everything had ticked, had stopped, and space stares all around, or grisly frost's first autumn morns repeal the beating ground. But most like chaos, stopless, cool, without a chance or spar or even a report of land to justify despair. Now, when this one was published in 1891, it was actually called The Journey, although obviously Emily Dickinson never called her poems any titles. Our assumptions are that you've been following our stuff at learnstrong.net. Down that left-hand side, Chats with Emily's our playlist. I'm hopeful you've worked through our set of introductory comments. I'm hopeful that you've worked through our preceding 614 poems. We just finished with 614 in Falling Timbers Buried. Now here we have another death poem, The Journey to the End of Life. One scholar has pointed out that this poem, quote, begins with apparent clarity, but will conclude with hallucinatory confusion. And it can be a pretty confusing poem. Let's see how well we do. Our journey had advanced. Our feet were almost come to that odd fork in being's road, eternity by term. Our pace took sudden awe. Our feet reluctant led. Before were cities, but between the forest of the dead. Retreat was out of hope, behind a sealed route. Eternity's white flag before, and God at every gate. Now notice the use of the word our to start with. Notice this is not my journey. This is our journey, and 4 times it's utilized. Had advanced. The Odyssey had come now to an advanced stage. Our feet were almost come, notice the word almost, to that odd fork in being's road. Now this is weird because it's a fork. You would think this is heaven or hell, right? Being's road, notice being's capitalized, our study of ontology. Eternity by term. Notice the use of the word term, but we think of eternity as having no term. In other words, it's eternal. Our pace took sudden awe. Emily's use of awe, we've commented on it in so many poems already. Our feet reluctant led. In other words, we're walking, but we're not really sure where we're walking to or why. Before, we're cities. And of course, immediately we think of the city of Dis and Dante's Inferno. We've given full lectures at learnstrong.net. But between the forest of the dead. Now this immediately makes us think of Inferno 31. You'll remember the strange trees that imprison the shades of the damned, the seventh circle of the second ring. The forest of the dead. Retreat was out of hope. We couldn't go backwards. Behind a sealed route. In other words, we couldn't go backwards, right? Eternity's white flag. Taking us back to this use of the word term. Before, and God at every gate. I remember God she uses in 127 of her poems. We think almost of that myth of Cerberus, the three-headed dog who is looking over hell. Now, what exactly is it we're going to say about this poem? I think that the argument of this poem is that sometimes the only way out is through. At 2B, one scholar has called this the mystical images of eternity. We do have a lot of amazing sound stuff going on here, right? The alliterative echoes, for example, before, between, behind, stanzas 2 and 3 stresses a relationship that's semantic as well as syntactic, as one scholar has pointed out. Notice you have retreat and route in stanza 3, and God and gate in the final line. We have feet, fork, feet, forest, flag that stretch throughout the lyric, right? A sense of unity, by the way, created in the sounds. It is pretty amazing. The dissonant rhymes of stanzas 1 and 3, the echo-like effects of odd and road in line 3, eternity and term in line 4. Emily's honor game for this poem. At 3A, I think you can't help but think of Dante's Inferno here. In his trip between Inferno to Purgatorio to finally Paradiso. Finally, to own a poem like this at 3B, what was a time when you had to struggle to get through that forest and get to the other side? Thank you.